Hey lovelies, so we're just on our way to go to our wedding venue. So we're actually going to be checking out the Brigham today, and it's quite good that it is super rainy. So as you can tell, it's pretty gross outside. Just got to put it out there, but it's actually a really good tip to do that as well, because you can't always guarantee what the weather's going to be like on your wedding day. I mean, like, you can always hope that it's going to be beautiful, but you never know. I mean, currently it's February in New Zealand and this is summer, so yeah, if you're planning on an outdoor wedding, it's just a good idea to be able to see what the place is like kind of at its worst, especially if you want a summer wedding. That's sort of the way that I'm trying to approach this, because this place that we're going to, it's out west and it's got a really nice outdoor ceremony area, but I want to see what their plan B option is too, because the outdoor, like, they've got a nice archway, everything's all beautiful. Another reason that I wanted to check out this place was because the actual cost of it to hire is like $1,150. That's currently, so this is in 2017 at start. Obviously prices can rise, but that's for venue hire for the staff, that's for seats and table covers and everything for 60 people, and that's how many people we've calculated that are going to be at our wedding.
About, yep.
Yeah, so we're going to try and keep it to 60 anyway, as best we can, because we want it to be like our closest friends and family that are going to be there, because those are the people that matter the most. And as we're paying for everything ourselves, like, we can create whatever function that we want to have, and we just want to have like a nice celebration with everyone, and not, I mean, like, sure, it's still going to be really nice and everything, but it's not going to have to tick everyone else's boxes. It's going to be what we want, what we've designed, and yeah, that's kind of like the approach that we're taking. So the wedding date, we haven't got set yet. Obviously it depends on the availability and what happens with purchasing the house and stuff.
It depends on availability as well.
Yeah, well, that's another reason why it's a really good thing to check out places as early as possible, because I've been doing a lot of online stalking, because weddings are kind of an addiction of mine, a little bit, but luckily he's known that for years, right darling? He was so stoked when he found out I wanted to be a wedding planner. Yeah.
Stoked that I have to drive everywhere.
Granted, this is the second venue that we've actually gone to. We went to a Lely estate before, and they are also flexible. It's just the price could be a bit too high for us, and it's quite difficult to do any decorations there because you have to hire external people. So I'm interested to find out all of my hairy questions at the Brigham. So the questions I definitely do recommend you want to check out is okay, so this is the way that I'm doing it. I'll just have like a one-on-one chat with you, so we won't pester Brandon right now. So I'm asking specifically around about times of setup, because, and it depends on who they allow to set up, because sometimes they'll only let people actually come and do the setup that they hire themselves, and if you can do your own stuff and DIY a bit more, that makes your life a hell of a lot easier and also cheaper, because it can actually cost thousands of dollars. So, like, I've seen the drapery fees, you know, like when you have those beautiful drapes coming down from the ceiling, it's about $6,000 to do that, and I'm like, ooh, okay, we don't really have that. That's it's like about half a budget, nearly. So well, it's about a third of our budget, and if you just want to have that on drapery, it's like, what? So definitely regarding the setup, and also how soon you can actually go there prior, if you can have a rehearsal dinner there, or just a rehearsal ceremony like the day beforehand or something, so everyone knows where to go and stuff, because that is super helpful. And if that also costs extra, because sometimes they're like, oh cool, so that's just going to be like an extra $300 just to do this, and it's for that one tiny little service, just so you can never run through, so things don't turn to custard on the day. So there's a lot of extra things that can easily add up. And also, if you are doing a bit of a DIY sort of thing like what we are, because I just kind of want to have our own input on as much as possible, you need to also check out when you have to have everything picked up by, because some places, they make you collect it on the same night. Some places it's by 10 AM the next day, and if you're not a morning person, you will struggle this, and if you've got a lot of stuff or you need to get it professionally moved, you'll need to take that into account and consideration, especially with your budget as well. So those would definitely be some big tips. And same as with setting up any of the table settings at the Brigham, so they'll actually do that themselves. Like if you provide wedding favors and anything else, I've read some reviews and I've looked at videos, I've looked at pictures, and also on the very tiny worded terms and conditions, because every single place is that too. So I've checked out all of that stuff, and they'll actually do that for you if you've got any table settings, if you've got anything else. So that's included in the 1,150, which is very useful to us, because otherwise you'll have to go and do it yourselves, or pay other people to go and do that, or pay extra. So yeah, we're trying to do as much as we can on as small a budget as we can for as big an impact as everyone else is. So that's why I think that this sort of stuff is quite useful, and I'll ask them if I can show you guys like a bit of the venue and stuff whilst we're viewing it. Otherwise I'll just be able to like do a bit of description, or I'll also link down below to their website, and also some useful photography pages that I found some really nice pictures that have been taken there. So yeah, I'm hoping that this place is good. You never know, hey, it's always a bit tricky to tell from just what other people have photographed, which is why it's useful to just go and speak to the people and have those honest conversations up front, because so long as you can provide your budget, and so long as you can just clarify whatever else you've got going on in your head, it just helps. Have your questions ready. And one other thing, which if you're watching this then you might also be at the lifestyle incline that we are, I always ask whatever venues if they can do a vegan wedding, and these guys are totally flexible and they're like, yep, we can do that. I've even offered to provide recipes or whatever, because food's quite an important part of our relationship. So I want to make sure that, you know, the people that are attending our weddings, it is going to be a totally vegan wedding, so I want to make sure that people will actually enjoy the food, because omnivores, like, the attitude towards vegan food is not always the best. So I just want to make sure that everything is like to our taste bud standards, because we're quite fussy as well. So yeah, I'll carry on taking you guys along, and hopefully, I mean very much hopefully, we'll be able to provide some good input. Brandon's really excited right now.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Ah, so we're gonna drive down that way. Okay, that's cool. So we've just left the Brigham. We had like that must have been like a 45-minute consultation with them. I didn't feel comfortable enough actually filming in there for now, because obviously we haven't confirmed anything yet, but the space it's so ideal for us. Yeah. So.
Sorry, the brakes are looking wet. Yeah, lovely space. Awesome space.
So what parts of it did you like, sweetheart?
I like the outside area. The like outside, like after ceremony sort of hangout area. That's really nice. Also the actual reception dinner area is really quite nice.
So I'll let Brandon just get onto the motorway, then he'll be able to tell you his thoughts. But the way that I figured it, like, I really like the venue because it's got a lot of really good, I know this sounds terrible, but you know, like Instagram worthy photo places, like the whole place, because some venues that I've seen, you can still see in the background of pictures and stuff, it kind of, you can see like the dirty side of things, whereas this one, like, everything's very...
Like, there's nice green hedges, like all the wooden framing is really nice and well looked after.
They maintain the grounds really well.
Very well, like all the grounds, there's nice walkways, and it's like, if you just had a look around, nothing looked like, if it got snapped in a photo, a candid photo, everything looked like it would be good.
Yeah.
It didn't look like there was anything that was standing out of place, like a misplaced statue or a out of place barbecue or
you know, like just those kind of like scungy steps or you know,
a rusted hinge or nothing like that. It was all
it's very well maintained.
Nice. Really well maintained, yeah.
And Raj himself, he's so nice to actually deal with and like very flexible and stuff, which is really useful. And he's honest about the stuff that they can do, the restrictions that are on them and everything like that. Now, for example, things like noise restrictions, you'll need to think about that. Now, there were cicadas, because obviously it's New Zealand, so it's kind of out west. So
large trees out west, it's New Zealand, so there's cicadas.
So there are cicadas in terms of the sound, but they do have a mic setup, which is a wireless one, which is really good, so you can always have that sort of thing for the ceremony, which is good. And the actual area for the dinner, it's already got the fairy lights set up on the ceiling, and it's already got these really nice like globes. Yeah, he's saying. So it's got these beautiful orbs which are really prettily lit up.
Yeah, and then it's got fairy lights running along above them.
Yeah, pretty wooden beams and like nice white sort of bay windows. It's just a nice space. And we want to have our first dance inside either that area, or there's the backup option, which is where the backup plan for wet weather, which is where we were actually sitting having our consultation, and that was in this marquee, which is like a permanent marquee, which can still work really, really well for the ceremony.
Yeah, big awning cover. Cover quite a large patio area. Quite a large.
Well, it is kind of like a patio area.
It's a large paved area. It was really nice, really beautiful, surrounded by nice big green hedges, and quite well done. So that area was quite cool.
And we couldn't make it down to the actual ceremony space, which is where like most of them are held.
As you can see out the window, it's so
it's drenched at the moment, but that's why I always think it's important to see places when it is not ideal and not like the perfect wedding day, because it's the same as when you go and buy a house or rent a house or whatever. Like, you want to see it kind of at its worst and to see if like you still like it then, and I think it would really suit us. So I'm so glad that we went there.
Surprisingly liked it.
Well, for us, we're doing a 2-year engagement. Obviously, if you are having a shorter engagement, then you'll need to really try and work hard at that, or maybe have an off-season wedding.
Sacrifice the season.
I mean, obviously the cost would be cheaper, and we actually found out that if we got married like any time between a Monday and a Thursday, it would be like $750 for the venue hire, but it's a bit more of a pain to us to get married on one of those days. So I kind of still want to stick with a Saturday wedding, to be honest with you.
On all our friends.
So now we're just kind of like fine-tuning exactly how we want the day to run, and it's a lot easier to do once you've seen the venue and once you've seen sort of the way that they run things and the things that work there best, because obviously they've done this more than what we have, because we've never been married before, so it's always good to actually try and take their advice. So that's definitely what we're doing, and they're flexible on all sorts of stuff, which is great.
Yeah, and like Raj was giving some good honest advice about not just how they operate but how the market operates, which was great, which we're quite grateful about. I mean, everyone has their angle, but the stuff that the information provides is very useful on how they operate. So understanding how your venue operates will end up saving a bit of cash in the long run.
What time does everything have to stop at? Because if you want to keep going until 3 in the morning, you'll need to find somewhere that's flexible with that, because it doesn't happen very often. So I recommend adding that to your list of things that you'll need to ask. Same as for us, like we want to kind of get like an arch, so for photos for other people to take, and also for the plan B, because the plan B is at that marquee area. We still like the idea of having a nice arch, so we'll be renting that, so they'll have to deliver that on the day, and you can do anything that's not in the cafe area, but you'll still need to work with them on things like that. So when it comes to bringing stuff on site, what will they do and what do you need to do or pay someone to do? So for your budgeting, you'll need to take that into consideration as well, definitely, just to make sure that everything's kind of covered and you'll get what you want, because I I don't know how many of you brides or grooms or whatever will want to actually go and set up on the day. Hopefully you'll have like some good friends that will be able to help or whatever. I wanted to especially check this place out now before we go to a couple of wedding shows. So there's 2 wedding shows we're going to in a couple of months. That's why we wanted to show you guys today. I know it's very premature with it being like 2 years in the future, but
I'm sure you'll be
yeah. So we'll come back out here again and I'll ask if we can, you know, sort of film the grounds. Hopefully it will be on a non-rainy day, so we'll be able to show you the full scape of the place. But like I said, just check out the description bar down below, because I'm going to have a whole bunch of like different useful links that I've found to show you this place. So yeah, I do hope that this video was useful for you guys. I know it's just mostly been a car journey with us, but yeah, you get to know us a bit more, and hopefully you've learned like a couple of other tips and tricks, because being someone that's had to organise events beforehand, and like I said, just being a bit wedding obsessed, this is just stuff that can easily just, you know, go over the top of your head. So if you did find it useful, do hit that thumbs up button, and also subscribe to my channel, because like I said, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of DIY sort of vegan wedding ideas, and like how we're planning our wedding, and things like budgeting and timing for things. So yeah, do subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it, and hopefully it will provide you some useful tips for the future. So thanks lovers for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye!